Hi, welcome to this online tutorial by Quest. I'm Sushant and I just love to eat. Every time I'm going to eat, I'm aware that my blood sugar is going to rise. Oh, does that mean I'm going to develop diabetes? Well, not necessarily. We know that every time we have food, the blood sugar does rise. But we also know that diabetes is not just one disease. It's a group of disorders characterized by hyperglycemia. So it could have variety of reasons, it could have variety of risk factors, and it could have variety of types. In this tutorial, let's try to understand what are the different pathophysiologic mechanisms of hyperglycemia and therefore what are the different types of diabetes mellitus. Every time that I have food and it is absorbed from my intestines, it would increase the plasma sugar. This would be sensed by a very important organ, that is the pancreas. The beta cells of Langerhans would release insulin in response to this hyperglycemia. Now, insulin, once it is in the plasma, it is going to allow the sugar to be entering into important cells, namely the adipose cells, liver cells, and the muscles. This is vital for these cells to get this glucose. But it is also vital for my body that the plasma sugar should come down and I should have euglycemia. But what happens when I'm fasting? When I'm fasting, the same pancreas would decrease its insulin secretion but would increase another hormone, the counter regulatory hormone of glucagon. Liver is going to sense this complex of low insulin and high glucagon and it will start breaking down its glycogen stores when I'm fasting, a process known as glycogenolysis. In more advanced cases, maybe if I'm starving, liver will start breaking down its amino acid stores, which it is in continuous circulation from the muscles, and it would break down these amino acids into glucose. It is practically going to make new glucose, that is gluconeogenesis. These two factors are going to therefore maintain my sugars when I'm fasting, and the insulin secretion is going to maintain my euglycemia after I've had food. Now we know that diabetes mellitus is hyperglycemia. The first type of diabetes is when I have decrease in insulin, an absolute deficiency of insulin because there has been a destruction of the islet cells of the pancreas. This very often is an autoimmune process, and this type of diabetes, which is because of autoimmune destruction of the cells, is known as type 1 diabetes mellitus. The antibodies which cause this destruction are known as islet cell antibodies. We can use them for diagnosis, but they are more for research purposes today. One such antibody, which is against glutamic acid decarboxylase or anti-GAD, can be used for commercial purposes to define type 1 diabetes mellitus. But the second type of diabetes that we know of is not because of absolute deficiency of insulin. Rather, it is because insulin is not able to act. We know that the primary role of insulin is to allow glucose to enter cells like the adipose tissue or muscle or liver. If there is a resistance to this action of the insulin at the level of the receptor or at the subreceptor level, then it would not be able to facilitate glucose entering the cell. Resultant would be hyperglycemia. This phenomenon of insulin resistance is the primary pathophysiology in patients of type 2 diabetes mellitus. But what would be the consequence of this insulin resistance? If insulin isn't able to act, that means I allow hyperglycemia to occur, that would in turn further stimulate the beta cells of islets of Langerhans. The beta cells would be sensing this hyperglycemia and secreting more insulin. That would initially lead to a state of hyperinsulinemia. Compared to type 1 diabetes, where I had deficiency of insulin, at least in the initial stages of type 2, I would have increase in insulin levels in the blood, hyperinsulinemia. But this cannot be a permanent phenomena or a permanent solution. Over a period of time, my islet cells are going to burn out. They're going to get tired and they're going to suffer from damage, and then insulin deficiency would set in. This would be a relative state of insulin deficiency. Understand, if my insulin level starts dropping down, my liver is going to sense this and it is going to say, oh, insulin is low, I need to secrete more glucose. This is going to increase the hepatic output of glucose, and together, these three things, insulin resistance, a relative decrease in insulin levels, and increased output of glucose from the liver, would lead to the second type of diabetes known as type 2 diabetes mellitus. It is not necessary that all patients of type 2 have all these three phenomena, but insulin resistance remains the primary pathology in type 2 diabetes mellitus. Apart from type 1 and type 2, there could be other causes of diabetes, like maturity onset diabetes of young or MODY. Other drugs could cause diabetes like steroids, beta 2 adrenergic agonists, antipsychotics. Infections like congenital rubella infection, cytomegalovirus infection can also cause diabetes. Other diseases of pancreas like pancreatitis or cystic fibrosis or sometimes pancreatic tumors can predispose patients to develop diabetes. An interesting association of diabetes is with other endocrinopathies like Cushing syndrome, acromegaly, or hyperthyroidism. Finally, some rare disorders can cause diabetes, or some congenital disorders can cause diabetes, like Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndromes, or Huntington's chorea. Last but not the least, gestational diabetes mellitus is an important category of diabetes. Due to the changes that happen during pregnancy, there is going to be a relative insulin resistance during the second half of pregnancy, and some patients can develop diabetes mellitus. These patients might revert back to euglycemia after delivery, but they should be kept under monitoring because a significant percent of these can later on develop diabetes mellitus. With that, let us summarize what we have understood. We have understood that food does increase plasma sugar, but that's not the only factor which is going to contribute for it converting into diabetes. So it's just not my food, but my overall lifestyle which will define what is going to happen to my diabetic status. More importantly, we have understood that if someone has complete insulin deficiency, especially because of an autoimmune damage, that is type 1 diabetes mellitus. But if there is resistance for insulin to act, resulting into hyperinsulinemia initially and then a relative insulin deficiency and an increase in hepatic output of glucose, that is type 2 diabetes mellitus. We have understood there can be a variety of other reasons, less common reasons of having diabetes, and in pregnancy there is a risk of developing diabetes which could be a temporary phenomena or could be a marker of diabetes which is going to occur later in life, which is known as gestational diabetes. If you have any questions on this, feel free to discuss with us on the Quest tab. Thank you so much and Jai Hind.